Hi everyone. So today we're going to talk about biological macromolecules. So let's get started. So what are biological macromolecules? These are large molecules that are essential to life and they are part of our bodies. This is how we function. These are the biggest or most important molecules we use to function within our bodies. And they are made up of smaller units, and we call these smaller units or components monomers. And there are four main types that we talk about. Those are lipids or fats, nucleic acids, carbohydrates, and proteins. So let's talk about each individually. And before that, let's kind of dive deeper into what monomers and polymers are to understand them better. So monomers are the single building blocks that make up all those biological macromolecules you see here. And these blocks start to repeat and chain together to form what we call a polymer chain. And these chains can become more and more complex to form these biological macromolecules in the previous slide. So those chains, those monomers, the single building blocks, normally get linked by something we call dehydration synthesis. Dehydration meaning we're losing water. So if you lose water, which is H2O, two hydrogens and an oxygen, then two of these compounds can bond together and forming these chains, the polymer chains. But these bonds of monomers can also be broken down by adding water, which we call hydrolysis. So if we add that H2O back in, then it can actually break apart the molecule as well. So they can bond together by removing a water molecule, or they can break apart by adding a water molecule. So let's talk about what carbohydrates are. Carbohydrates are made up of monomers as well. These are single repeating building blocks, and the monomer for carbohydrates is called monosaccharides or simple sugars. And this is what a monosaccharide looks like. An example is glucose, and this glucose, this can be fructose as well, bonds together and forms chains called polymers. In this case, it's called polysaccharide. An example would be starch, and these polymers become more and more complex to for create essential functions within life, such as polysaccharides can become more complex and be part of starch grains in chloroplasts, as you can see here. So, what about lipids? Lipids are essential for long term energy storage, but they're honestly not true polymers, meaning they are made up of repeating monomers, such as these fatty acids, to create chains called polymers. But the monomers are not exactly repeating because we have different types of monomers, different types of those essential building blocks that can form those chains. So, it's not a fully repetitive thing. It can change up a little bit because there's different types of the basic component. But this can form or include fats, oils, phospholipids, and steroids. And what's interesting about lipids is that in its basic function as a monomer, the basic component, it has a hydrophobic component and a hydrophilic component, meaning some parts of it is likes water, hydrophilic, and some parts of it hates water or is repelled from water, which is hydrophobic. So for example, we actually use these lipids to store energy, to insulate, and even build cell membranes. So, if this is our cell, the outer layer is the cell membrane. And you can see that the hydrophilic heads, meaning they love water, are on the outside and inside of the membrane, while the middle of it has the hydrophobic tails, meaning they hate water. And this actually helps us regulate what goes inside and outside of our cell, which is very helpful. Proteins are called the workhorses of the cell. They are functional for so many things in our bodies, such as enzyme and movement and the structure of the muscles and our different parts of our body, and even transporting different materials within our body. And the basic component or monomer that's repeating in proteins is called an amino acid, which are these like beads. Looking thingies, and they combine to form polymers, but these polymers can become more and more complex. You can see the structure of these polymers as they attach can become so complex and form different types of shapes, which are essential for different types of functions, as we've spoken about, such as enzymes and such. So, what about nucleic acids? Nucleic acids are important for information storage. This helps us make DNA even. So, the monomer or the basic component of nucleic acids are called a nucleotide, and it looks like this. It has a phosphate group, which is phosphorus and oxygen. It has a sugar component, and it has a nitrogenous base. So, this is a basic component, and it's supposed to repeat, right? And it makes things like DNA and RNA. What's interesting is this nitrogenous base can look different. So a nucleotide, this part over here can look like this. We call this the C, T, G, and A. And when we're forming DNA, the phosphate and sugar part is like the backbone, and the nitrogenous base that can differ kind of attaches to each other. So an A can attach to a T, or a G can attach to a C, and this is how we start to form this DNA helix shape. This is what our DNA looks like. So you can see how nucleic acids are so helpful, are so essential for life to even exist. Um, and so to summarize, we talked about four macromolecules. They are carbs, lipids, proteins, and nucleic acids. They are made from monomers, which are the essential subcomponents that repeat. Except for lipids, remember they're not true polymers. It's not exactly the same component repeating. They have each have a unique structure and function, and they are vital to life and found in every cell. That's it. Thank you.